JBN, we keep you informed. Jamaica, home sweet home. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.
It's hard to read negative press about Jamaica on the pages of a foreign newspaper, especially when it tells the truth. In June 2018, the UK's Guardian reported that Jamaican expats who retire here after decades in the UK face an extreme risk of murder.
Uncomfortable, but a fact. Returning citizens who were once welcomed home on vacation are often hounded for their money, exploited because of their lack of knowledge of the system, and targeted by criminals.
For President of the Jamaica Association for the Resettlement of Returning Residents, Percival Latouche, this is hardly news. It's a familiar story. He shared some thoughts and solutions with us.
Once you spend 3 consecutive years overseas, you are entitled to returning resident status. You can go there as a student and you spend 3 years and return. You're entitled to bring home your household belonging, your tools of trade, and free of cost. Those that go to work, it applies to everyone. Once we are contacted from overseas, we now advise them how to prepare to come home. So you'll tell them what to do. They're just simply going through custom. There are questions that custom is asking them, which is their private business, their private address should not be disseminated to nobody because of the crime problem that's taking place on the returning residents. We need to work out a system that will protect them when they go to custom. Jamaicans are boasty type people. I've just bought my house out in Portmore, and I just come in and spend, I pay 5, 10, 15 million for it. And I need, these are things that I want, and don't do it. Jamaica is not like what we left here, when we left here in the 50s. See, everybody know Tom, Dick and Harry. And though Tom, Dick and Harry is not just protecting you, it's to protecting themselves. If they need a gardener, or they need a helper, or they need an electrician, or a plumber, or a builder, we can supply them all across the country. Take for instance, those at the airport that was being robbed 24/7. And they are still being robbed now. But the police won't hear about it. If they ever robbed one tomorrow morning, the police will never hear. As long as they're alive, they took off the following morning and they're gone. So you're not hearing about it anymore. I know at least 6 that went in the past 5 months did not go to the police. They turned back because they want their life. So there's not much I can say, but I know that between the custom wheelchair handlers and the baggage handlers, telephone should be taken away from them totally. Because when you get there to the airport, the first thing they do is take up the phone and says to you, you want to call anyone? And some of them is naive enough to say, yes, call Mars John, what's the number? And that's it, right? And that's how they get on. Some of the robberies, I'm not saying all of them. Well, I would ask the Jamaican government to pay more attention to the Jamaicans that leave here and went abroad, because they are the ones who kept this country going, right? So if it hadn't been for us who lived overseas, I don't know what would have happened to our education system and our children here in Jamaica. Therefore, the government should take more hands-on approach to the children in every nook and cranny of Jamaica. Whatever thing is done, it must be done for all Jamaicans, all foreigners, not just returning residents, because you'll be making them a target. So don't put them on any one corner. Deal with the country, the people of the country, and those that come in and going out. Make the country livable. Lock up who is to lock up. Murderers, thief, gunman, politician, returning resident. Lock up who for lock up. That is what you're going to do to make the country run good. To make the people come in happy. If you're taking side with this man or side with that man, the country can't go anywhere.
How alert are you?
When 26-year-old American Desiree Gibbons set out for Jamaica, the future was full of promise. Here was a chance to learn about her father's country, spend quality time with relatives, and to earn some money for film school in Europe.
It was the perfect plan, but a plan that would soon be broken. What happened during Desiree's stay in Jamaica? Watch this, our featured crime.
Saturday, November 25, 2017 was a beautiful sunshiny day in Montego Bay, St. James. Traffic on the Long Hill Road was heavy but flowing smoothly. Little did anyone know the horror hidden in the bushes. A groundsman from a nearby villa was doing his daily rounds when he stumbled on the lifeless body of a young woman. The police were summoned and the murder scene processed. She was fully clothed and a single key numbered 216 lay beside her body. She was eventually removed to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where it was confirmed that Desiree Gibbons' throat had been slashed. Surveillance video shows Desiree leaving the family hotel where she was staying at 11:27 on the night of Thursday, September the 23rd, 2017. The video offers no clues, but somebody somewhere knows what happened. Until he or they come forward, the horror in the bushes just outside of Montego Bay, St. James will remain unsolved.
Desiree's lifeless body was found in bushes, throat slashed, abandoned at the side of the road. Never could her family have imagined that beautiful Jamaica was where her dreams would end.
You know, in terms of how we're feeling, it's still complete devastation. We have no answers. We have nobody to turn to. And you know, honestly, we feel like nobody in the Jamaican authorities care. I'm sure perhaps they do, but it doesn't feel that way. The perception is that nobody cares, and you know, Desiree is gone and there's just still no answers. We were extremely close. She was an only child for 8 years. There's not anything that she didn't share with me or I didn't share with her. You know, she was an actress, she was a model, she was an entrepreneur. We talked about everything. We were very, very, very close. It's a huge loss to me personally, but as well as to the family, her sisters, her father, the community, everybody. It has caused an awful lot of turmoil in the family. Desiree was staying in the hotel owned by her grandmother, and her uncle was down there. And, you know, immediately you become suspicious of everybody. Nobody called to tell us she was missing until I learned that she had been brutally murdered. My children are suffering. I have one who would not even attend any of her services. I have another who's struggling in school, who's very sad, and she's in denial. It's just complete devastation. The family has completely fallen apart, and they might as well have just murdered each and every one of us. Every day that she was in Jamaica for the 27 days, I believe it was, we spoke. And when I watched the video of her leaving that hotel, she was summoned out of that hotel by somebody she knew. I am almost 100% sure whoever killed her, she knew them. And I can't understand why. I just don't get it. You know, Desiree was everybody's best friend. Desiree was the one who would pick you up and drag you along and get you on your feet. She'd leave nobody behind. I just want to say to the people of Jamaica, if anybody knows anything, no matter how small you might think it is, it could be the missing piece to solve the murder. So if anybody knows anything, please come forward, let somebody know. We are devastated at the loss of Desiree. She was a gift to all of us, and there's many people struggling with her death.
Crime Stop is offering a reward totaling $100,000 for information leading to the arrest and charge of the perpetrators of this heartless crime. But make no mistake, this is about much more than money.
Please, don't do it for the reward. Do it for everyone's right to live and to die in peace.
And Nancy is a Jamaican folklore hero, the ultimate trickster and con artist. But this image is not quite so funny when you're the real-life victim of a ruthless scam. Watch this.
Now, my nephew.
Yes.
You see this piece of land that I'm talking about here?
Yeah.
This piece of land, I bought this land about 5 years ago. I wanted to buy a long time ago, but I never had the money. Because when I just went to the UK, I went on the banana boat. And when I went on the banana boat, man, it was hard for us. So I had to work really hard and save up this money and I buy it. Now I look at the land and it's good land. I even done the plan already, done all the plan and everything. So what I'm going to do is I want you to be in charge of all the work that goes on, right? I'm going to send you £5,000 when I go back to the UK. I'm going to send £5,000 for you to start the groundwork,
Yes,
dig the foundation. You have the plan already, and then you can get every man them to start the work, okay? And I will continue to send money to you every month. When you run out of money, you just call me and say, uncle, I run out of money. I will send the money, and then you can just build the house. This house is not just for me alone, you know. It's for you too. You is my nephew. You is my sister. Only pick me. God rest her soul.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Look how I left the boy in charge and I sent the boy all this money and the boy don't dig no foundation. Not one block don't deliver, no cement, no sand, no steel. The boy scam me. My sister one picked me. One boy picked me. He was the only one I could depend on.
You see this kind of dishonesty? It happens more often than you think. Sometimes even your own family will rip you off. If you plan to build your retirement home, use only registered professionals, architects, engineers, surveyors, and find yourself a reputable contractor. If you're not careful, dog nyam your supper. Don't be scammed.
Generations of Jamaicans have migrated, courageously building a new life for themselves and sharing their success and their earnings with their relatives and the economy back home.
That makes it all the more unfair when a well-earned retirement meets a painful end. We want to rewrite the story for all our returning expats, both young and old. Here are a few facts that you should know.
Did you know? Brought to you by Carreras Jamaica. When a returning resident touches down on Jamaican soil, it's not just family and friends that await them. For many in the criminal world, they are easy pickings. Did you know that, even today, the favorite methods of attack include waiting on retirees to receive their foreign pension payments, or trailing them from the airports to rob them at their destination? Undercover police officers now patrol both international airports. They're on the hunt for the corrupt baggage handlers or taxi drivers who have been known to tip off gangs about new arrivals returning to live in Jamaica. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is considering a service to provide security screening and background checks for persons being employed by returning residents. They are also exploring the possibility of establishing a point of contact for the diaspora to address specific concerns about cases. Appointing a liaison officer for each police division to monitor and provide residents with feedback on policing matters. Returning resident crime is real. The police are also reminding these citizens to take their own precautions when entering into business and personal arrangements with those who may be approaching them simply for criminal gains.
We will never get a handle on crime if we don't get more criminals off the streets. The following men were still at large at the time of the filming of this program.
Have you seen them?
Marlon Barnett, otherwise called Shortman of Gregory Park, Portmore, St. Catherine, is wanted for questioning in connection to charges of shooting, wounding with intent, and illegal possession of a firearm, all related to a police-involved incident in Caymanas Gardens, St. Catherine, on Thursday, February 13, 2015. Marlon Barnett is considered armed and dangerous. Oran Dunn, otherwise called Mike, is wanted in connection to the double murder of Ocon and Patmore Johnson, committed on July 17, 2017 on Paradise Crescent, Montego Bay. Oran Dunn is considered armed and dangerous.
Remember, just because you're a visible target doesn't mean you have to become a victim. They may be watching you, but in the meantime, you can be prepared.
Safety Tips, sponsored by Guardsman.
We find that as people get old, their social skills, their support structure around them is disappearing, and therefore they become far more dependent on others to help them do things, and they want to rely on others to help them to do things because of their own uncertainty. This exposes them. And how do we get our elderly to understand what's happening, and how do they adjust their habits to protect themselves? One of the things that the elderly first do is they become very predictable in their routines, Thursdays to go to the bank, Wednesdays to go to the post office, Tuesdays to go to the supermarket. We become very predictable and therefore vulnerable in that predictability. So we need to mix up our routine. We need to rotate the things we do, and those that we can't, we ensure that we take the necessary safeguards when we do it. When at home, the elderly are advised, lock the doors, lock the windows. Most burglaries against the elderly are because of open doors, open windows in the property. At night, we need to ensure that they not only have good outside lighting, but that they're a part of the community. We encourage the elderly to become active members in neighborhood watch where they exist, so that a curious neighbor is better than any watchdog you can have. And therefore we encourage them to be a part of that and get our neighbors to look after and look out for us. The other thing that we need to ensure is that when you're out walking about, whether you are in the plazas, on the road, or wherever, that you carry with you a whistle. Your ability to maybe shout and scream is not as strong as it used to be, but with a whistle you can certainly draw attention and raise an alarm to something happening. When we go to the banks, try and avoid carrying as much cash. Ensure just enough. And if you have to carry it in more than one place on your person. Don't put everything in one pocket. We need to be very conscious of who is around us. The elderly are usually attacked or robbed on the approach to their home or in the home. So we need to ensure that we raise our awareness and consciousness when we are approaching home. Have the keys ready. Don't get to your door and then start to fumble for keys and look for keys. Have them ready on your approach to the door. We also need to ensure that we use electronics as much as we can. As we get older, there are ways that we can not only track ourselves, but we're able to raise an alarm and an alert. There are tracking watches that the elderly can buy, and it works twofold. It's your security alarm, but it can also be your medical alarm. It's how you have it programmed that will make the difference. We also can have around the house an intrusion alarm system or a panic alarm system. Again, doubling not just for your physical security, but also your medical safety. The elderly are very vulnerable because they want to be good citizens. And when persons come offering unsolicited help, whether it be to do your garden, repair your house, whatever, you need to be very careful. That unsolicited help could be a way to get inside or to find out more about you, the person. So avoid engaging unsolicited help. Ensure the persons that you let into your home are people you know, people you trust. If you don't, confirm who they are, ask for identification. And one of the other things that we need to be very careful of, who you open your doors to. The elderly should have certainly a peephole in their front door so they can see who is outside and don't go opening the door to see who it is. We need to take these simple safeguards to protect ourselves.
It's not easy to be the bearer of bad news, to share with you negative statistics week after week. But make no mistake, CS311 is not about fear or about a lack of hope.
We do this because we are positive that hiding from the truth cannot solve crime. Turning away will not make a difference.
We have the power to push back this wave of crime that is sweeping across Jamaica. With your help. I'm Leroy Hall.
And I'm Deidre Dixon. We'll be back next week. Hope to see you soon.
Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.